Why is it important that I take a salary if I'm a one-man band? Wouldn't it be better just have the net profit as shareholder distributions and use that to pay my bills?
There's probably three things that matter here. Number one, the IRS looks at certain things, and certain things flag the IRS for an audit.
Okay.
One of the top things that the IRS looks at is, what do you take as a salary out of your company, because the IRS knows that you have 3 kids and you live in a house and you buy groceries and et cetera. And if it doesn't see any income coming in, it gets a little nervous about how you're cheating it. Okay? So it's one of the top things for an audit. And we have accountants that say, well, you're in a S Corp, so you take a salary as an S Corp. And then we have some accountants that will say, well, you own an LLC, so you only get paid with dividends, you don't take a salary. My answer is always take a salary. Always take a salary. And commensurate to what you're doing within the company. Number two, if there is any Social Security ever again, or it makes it by the time you get there, your Social Security is dictated by how much money you made, not in draws, but in income, paying your Social Security tax. So, there's something there, maybe. Number three, don't get caught unaware at the end of the year with taxes. I have the way I do things, frankly, is I pay myself fairly well out of the Institute. Every 2 weeks, I get a big check, and I send half of it to the IRS. And some people say, well, you're paying them up front, and you could actually hold on to your money and blah, 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 and all of that. But I don't want to have a big surprise check in April where my accountant says, you get to write a $192,000 check. I don't want to write that check. So I choose to pay a little bit at a time. And I think one of the things that a lot of shop owners don't understand is you get paid in 2 ways. And you kind of intimated to that a little bit, Lucas, on our last call. One way is you get a salary for what you do in the business. So if I'm managing $1 million company, I'm probably making $80,000 to $100,000 to manage it. Okay. If I am a tech in a shop, even though it's my shop, I get paid like a tech, and I probably make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 to be a tech in that company. Okay. If I'm a service advisor, I get paid like a service advisor. And so an owner that's working in the shop has a salary. I get a check. Okay. And the other part of that is I get a reward. I want to have a reward for working. I mean, you work for months and months and months. I did it. I had a shop, had somebody steal a bunch of money. I worked about 6 months, didn't ever get a paycheck, just kept taking money out of my own savings to keep the place up and afloat and going. And I got to tell you, after 6 months, it was like, why the hell am I doing this? It was really nice to take a check. So the second way that I get paid is because if I took all that money that I signed the lease and I put the deposit down and I bought the racks or I signed for them, and I have all this equipment, and if I took that $300,000 and I put it in the stock market, which David mentioned last time, I'd get a return. If I did a good job, I'd get a return somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, 12%. So I get a return on my investment. That's my dividend. And that dividend needs to be 20% because I'm going to pay taxes with it. I'm then going to take about a third. Another third is going back in the company. It's going to fix the roof. It's going to purchase a new rack. It's going to clean the floors, repave the sidewalk out front. Whatever it is, I'm constantly putting money back into my company, about a third. And then I'm going to be able to keep a third. So if it's 20%, third, 7.5%, 8% comes to me as an investment, and my company's an investment. I think a lot of people don't understand that. So multiple reasons to take a check, regardless of what your accountant is telling you. Don't get me wrong, I love accountants, but most of them are just accountants, glorified bookkeepers. They're
liability professionals.
They're not people that are telling you, do this because it's smartest for you, right? They're telling you, you got to pay this much tax, and pretty much that's it.
Hold on. You cannot get past this point here. I repeat this over and over and again. Nobody gets it. A bookkeeper's job is to make sure that your financials are clean.
Keep the books.
P&L is correct, that your bank account is reconciled properly, and that everything is nice and clean and they should be producing a P&L, balance sheet, a cash flow statement. You should be seeing that. That is the bookkeeper's job.
Yep.
The accountant's job, the reason they exist. The only reason why you show up is not for them to file the taxes, because you can click a couple buttons online and file your own taxes. It's not that hard. The reason they exist is to find ways to save you taxes legally. That's it.
Gosh.
So if they
were the
show
truth.
up, but it's like my job is to fix the car. If I never fix the car and just charge you, what am I here for? I didn't fix the car.
So,
my job is to fix the car. Their job is to save you on taxes. So if they're just like, here's how much you're supposed to pay in taxes, you got to cut a check for $40,000. It's like, okay, David, great. I want that $40,000 to be less. Come on, make it less.
I'm with you, baby. But here's my problem. I work with hundreds, thousands of shop owners. Thousands. Do you know how many good P&Ls I've seen out of thousands of shop owners, good balance sheets? Accurate, to the point. I can count on one hand how many I've seen that are good. Okay.
Yeah.
I also work with the same thousands when it comes to I'm going to have to pay taxes. We start with a shop. They're making 40, 50,000, 60,000. They're getting a paycheck. A year later, they're making $300,000, and they're like, "Oh my God, I got to pay taxes." They didn't think about that, and so now we're counseling them, even though it's not necessarily our job. It's like, okay, do this, and talk to your accountant and find out what you should do. And most accountants, I don't know, in my experience, maybe I've only got the bad ones, but most of my accountants, in my experience, are not doing that job of truly helping someone prepare for taxes and get rid of taxes. I know, David, and we're paying them big bucks.
I have an accountant, and he specializes in small businesses, and he will come to me with different tax strategies depending on my personal goals. So, like, for example, he came to me and he was like, hey, you can pay for your health insurance entirely through the business before taxes.
Pre-tax dollars. Holy smokes,
pre-tax
that's
dollars
smart.
For your entire family.
Yeah.
And I go, what do you mean? He's like, there's a code in the IRS that you have to structure the business in a certain manner. And if you structure the business in a certain manner, all of your health insurance will come out as a business expense, pre-tax dollars, and then you can pull your salary out. If your accountant's not coming to you with those type of strategies, like, hey, your children, you have kids, they should be working in the business. They should be working in the business. They should be pulling a salary. I don't know. That's not my idea. I didn't invent that. That's in the tax code. A much smarter person that understands the tax code and does this for a living came to me and said, hey, you need to get your kids to work in the business. They need to pull a salary based on what they can do. Even as little as 5, 6, 7 years old, they can do something in the business. Even if it's you just plaster them all over your marketing, which is what my kids do, all over the marketing. And now my daughter's old enough she can come clean, and she organizes the break room, and she makes sure that the little snacks are out. And all of that money comes out of the business and pays for the children's expenses. And they go to private school. I don't pay taxes on that money. Good.
But so Dave, I'm with you 1,000%. I am absolutely there. Lucas, I think we have a problem. David gets the final edit. So he's the one that he leaves the rants in that he wants and the other ones out that he doesn't want. I think there's something wrong with that.
Very, very true.
It's almost scary.
And you know what? Here's the cool thing about David and the rants.
Yeah.
Is David picks the rants that he knows is going to make people hate him. Okay.
Yeah.
He picks those rants,
and that's the
he's
one he
like,
puts up.
if I put this out, everybody's going to hate me and they'll leave me the hell alone. They're not going to ask me questions. They're not going to give me hugs.
So
they're not going to want to shake my hand.
So and
I don't edit anything.
And if
out.
you don't have if you don't have an IRA or a 401k for your company, you're nuts. Crazy. I mean, oh my God, free money. There's so many different ways to, build wealth. Business is all about building wealth, and wealth is built on profits in business and being intelligent about how you spend your money, where you spend your money. Yeah, I'm not saying don't spend it. I'm saying spend it correctly. Get a good accountant that can really help you.
We had a conversation in the shop the other day that I thought was very interesting. I had an employee, they said, hey, I don't think you took enough taxes out for me because I'm not getting a big refund. And I said, well, the purpose really isn't to get a refund. Like, that's not what it's supposed to be. They said, well, that's how I save my money, is because I want to pay more. And so what it was is they were putting their money into the 401k as a deferred option. And so they didn't pay taxes on the deferred money, so they don't get a refund on those dollars.
No, they don't.
And so yeah.
I had two accountants. I had two accountants. I had what I called my white hat accountant and my black hat accountant. My black hat accountant would sell his mom on the market if he could get $10. My white hat accountant wouldn't do anything wrong. So I go to my black hat accountant. I said, I made $300,000 this year. I'm kind of concerned. I only paid this much tax, and I'm going to have a big tax bill. And my black hat guy would go, well, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Give me 10 great ideas. Go to my white hat accountant and say, hey, I didn't pay enough taxes. I'm kind of worried. What am I going to do? And he'd sit there and he wouldn't give me any real ideas. And then I'd go, well, what if we do this? He'd go, oh, no, that's illegal as hell, right? And then I go, well, what about this? And he'd go, yeah, I wouldn't do that one either. And I said, well, what about this one? He says, I think we could get away with that one, right? It was like I took 10 ideas. I ended up doing 2 or 3 of them that my white hat guy said, no, we won't get arrested and thrown in jail for. You got to have good, especially if you're profitable. Now, here's the deal. Many shops are not profitable to the point that they need an accountant. I mean, if you're making $60,000 and you're getting a paycheck and you're taking normal taxes out, you really probably don't need an accountant. I mean, you can go H&R Block and file your taxes if you have a bookkeeper. But if you're doing what your shop should be doing, and that's making 20% net out the bottom, plus a salary, now you're getting in the $200,000, $250,000, $300,000 income range. You need an accountant.